So there's no shortage of amazing player-created bases in No Man's Sky. As the game evolved throughout the years and got more features added, so was the case with the player creations. I am sure that many of you have seen some of these examples around, and even Hello Games started recognizing their importance to the fan base, as many of them started being featured on the actual Nexus. But many times, some of these amazing concepts got way beyond the scope and scale of your average shelter, which is why in today's video I want to bring you guys on a journey with me as we explore some of the most insane and cool examples of bases people have created in No Man's Sky. Now, before jumping in with the video, I want to make a quick announcement, and of course we have our first giveaway for 2020, for which I'm super excited because this is the first giveaway for this year. Of course, you've been enjoying these for at least 6 months at this point, and I'm actually glad that so many of you guys are jumping in, and you know, it's such a pleasant surprise to see so many of you guys being interested in these giveaways. So I'm definitely trying to make as many of these as possible, but if you want to take part in this, just go ahead, follow the links in the description box, and you can literally pick whichever game you want, and the winner will be announced in about 23 days from this point. So yeah, definitely go ahead and check out Instant Gaming, and also a big shout out to them for helping me setting these up. But let's get started with a couple of examples that have also been featured a couple of days ago but have since then been replaced with something else. Of course, I'm talking about the Death Star crash site by Ashfacta69 and the Iron Giant by DJ Monkey, some of the coolest concepts I've seen around, because as I was saying, these exceed the scope and scale of your regular base. In the case of the Death Star, this is actually quite surprising because it looks so well and it blends so well with the environment. It's basically a crashed Death Star in the middle of the desert, and this is like the Star Wars feeling that I always wanted to, well, have in No Man's Sky. But what surprised me the most was the level of detail and care that the user has put into his creation. You can even see some of its parts actually missing, and if you go inside of it, you can see many of them actually being on the ground over there, pretty much acting like debris. So I like this. Even the bridge area with the center of the Death Star has been replicated quite well, of course, with the tools that the user had available to him. The same story goes with the Iron Giant megastructure, which I absolutely love, mainly because it reminds me of my childhood, and I definitely love the movies. But it looks like a 100% replica of the Iron Giant, so I was actually quite blown away when I saw this being featured. It takes a lot of skill to create something like this. As you can see, all of these parts have been perfectly glitched in order to create the appearance of the Iron Giant. So I was actually quite surprised the way the user was able to create something like this. Nothing goes to waste over here, so I'm not 100% sure if the user didn't use any external sources to create this, but even if it did, it still requires a little bit of skill in order to do that, so this is quite a masterpiece to look at. Coming up next, as we were talking about movies reminding us of our childhood, if you ever saw the movie Up, well, you are in luck, because there's a almost perfect replica of the house in No Man's Sky, also thanks to Bionic Heart 70, who was the creator behind this amazing concept. So first of all, just to look at this, it looks absolutely crazy. I mean, the way he used the spheres in order to create the appearance of actual balloons is just all around amazing. So it probably took quite a while in order to place these, but the house in itself is where the actual detail and the beauty lies in, because it's packed filled with a lot of stuff, and it's actually so immersive to be inside of it. Everything seems to be all placed exactly where it needs to be placed. So the rooms look absolutely insane, they look absolutely beautiful. I'm seeing all of these decorations that I just love. This is by far one of the best examples of interior design that I've seen so far in this game, so it's quite amazing to see what can be done with the tools at our disposal. But what I love the most are these stairs. I'm not sure why, maybe the concept of just placing these things beneath them. This is something that I am most definitely going to do for myself in my base as well. But at the top there's additional 2 rooms. One of them is of course the master bedroom, and yeah, just these decorations are so amazing. So there's definitely a few examples over here that I am definitely going to be stealing, and it's not just there, it's not just the inside of the house. You can pretty much go at the top, almost on the roof, and you're going to have a small bubble bath over there to kind of enjoy. There's also some music going on, so absolutely crazy. The way it looks is stellar, and this definitely deserves a feature on the Nexus, hopefully in the upcoming week. Now the fourth base on the list isn't necessarily a base, even though obviously it is because it has to be placed somewhere, but this is more like a game that somebody created in No Man's Sky. It's kind of like a game in a game. This is of course the VY-SKEE ball base created by NMS Kibbles, which is also the creator of other amazing concepts that have used the logical system in the past. But what is most impressive about this base is the way it works, because if you look in the back over here, you're going to see all of these circuits going on, all of these wires not only being perfectly lined but also perfectly being arranged, and these schematics over here are just insane. I can't even begin to imagine what kind of technical know-how you need to have in order to create something like this, because this goes way beyond just imagination. This is something that you truly need to learn and have a skill for in order to create, but it's actually quite amazing. You just push the button, the ball appears, you shoot it, and hopefully aim for the proper spot, and all of those spots on the platforms each give you different numbers, each give you a different score, all of which is obviously tracked individually, both on the platform as well as on the left side of where you are. So again, amazing concept, not really a base, but still deserving of its spot nonetheless. Coming up on the second spot though, this was a really hard one because I am a sucker when it comes to orbital bases, and as a matter of fact my next big project is going to be creating my own orbital base. Of course, personal project and all that, but this is the TRIDENT, which was created by the user called Telepath. Of course, this is only available on the PS4 unfortunately, but it doesn't mean that this is not amazing. I've seen actually a number of concepts over here that I decided to implement in my own gameplay as well, because I haven't seen them being applied anywhere else. So this goes way beyond just having things automated, like getting close to something and being activated with the proximity sensor, like the lights over here for example, or the teleporters later on, but it goes way beyond this. At some point I saw a very interesting way of arranging the doors in order to create this effect right here. One of the coolest examples I've seen of just doors opening, and it's not even that big of a deal, but the way it's all set up makes it look very intriguing and truly deserving of a orbital base. But this is not even where it ends. You can go here in the middle of the tower, and at some point I saw one of these platforms pretty much coming up, so I had to go ahead and check it out, and lo and behold, when you get close to it, it kind of extends these platforms. Of course these are the garage doors it seems, but he repurposed it in order to make them appear like these kind of platforms, so you can kind of get here in the middle with your friends, and I can just imagine myself role-playing as something like the Justice League with all of this cool tech going around. Another cool concept that I saw over here was a medical facility. It pretty much looked like a very modern or futuristic hospital room. It looked just miles away better than anything I've created so far. The sheer number of details over here and the way everything is placed just blow me away. So yeah, this is something huge. Nothing seems to be out of place. Everything seems to be perfectly set up exactly where it needs to be set up. Everything looks immersive as hell, and I couldn't find even one single object that was out of place. Everything blended in very perfectly together. This of course brings us to the number one spot, which is the Light City, one of the most ambitious and amazing concepts I've seen around. Of course this was created by the user Razgul, and there's a lot of cities around, let's be clear on that. There's quite a few cities around, but this has been recently created. This is the creation of, it seems, only one player, though I might be mistaken, and it basically fully utilizes the base limit, maybe even exceeds it, on the PS4, if you can believe that. And it's actually one of the most believable concepts of cities that I have currently seen around in this game basically. So as you walk around the alley, you can see a ton of buildings, a lot of shops, a lot of places you can actually enter. There's a club in here in which you can go in. There's even music thanks to the byte beat machines. You can pretty much stay in there with your friends, dance on the dance floor. It all looks absolutely crazy, very believable, but I saw more than that. I'm pretty sure that at some point I saw a diner, a full-on diner. You can go in, maybe with your friends, just chill over there, eat some food, of course space food, and just check the people walking around. It would be amazing if like 10 or 15 people populated this area and just went on their business just like how it is in real life. But there's a ton of them outside as well. You can pretty much see these inside the buildings, outside of them. They are in open or closed spaces. At some point I saw a clinic, of course it all looked pretty freaking cool. A gun shop, if you can believe that, because of course on your journeys you're going to need some of those. And there's even buildings with multiple stories. You can go in one, and I believe that this is something like kind of like a hotel, though I'm not entirely certain. And you can climb on the stairs and this will bring you at the top. You will even have a bridge area over there where you can pretty much go in and check the surrounding area. Of course everything looks amazing. There's actual blocks, building blocks in there with actual stories that you can visit. There's everything in it looks absolutely crazy. But the coolest part about this is that it doesn't just have the main area over here, it has a second street as well, which kind of brings you in what I believe to be the slums of this city. It actually looks like slums. Not fully certain if that was me reaching the base limit, not being able to render the rest of the base, but that was the impression I was left with. But to top it all off, there's also an electric grid. There's like a power facility outside of the city, which is pretty much looking like this, and all of those wires I brought with actual electrical towers all the way back into the city. All looks very immersive, very awesome, and again, one of the best looking creations, definitely deserving of the #1 spot. But yeah, let me know down below what was your favorite base on today's list, or what other bases also amazing do you know out there in the wild. Don't hesitate to post your comment down below, and in the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, a thumbs up on it would be super appreciated. Subscribe if you want to see more of these, and peace.